I have an incurable cancer. I found out the same week that my daughter told me that we were going to be grandparents for the first time, that I had this cancer. So I've had 5 surgeries, chemotherapy, internal radiation, and clinical trials. And since I found out the week that my daughter told me we were going to have this baby, I wrote this baby a letter because I did not know if I would get to meet this child. Luckily, I have ripped up that letter and 4 other letters because I now have 5 grandbabies. But I've also received blood transfusions when I need them. And nothing makes me feel as good as when I receive my blood transfusions. It's like a light switch goes off.
So LifeSource is a nonprofit blood bank in Chicago, and we're headquartered in Rosemont, and this is where our lab is that processes all the blood that's donated. Every time you donate, we also check your blood pressure, temperature, pulse, and your iron levels to make sure that those are all at a healthy level before you can donate. Generally speaking, you just need to feel healthy that day. You need to be 18 years old or 16 or 17 with a parental consent form. Every day there's people that need blood at hospitals. It can just be for treating illnesses like cancer. There's also things like people in emergency rooms that come in with different wounds. They might need blood. Sometimes women, when they give birth, they have complications. They might need blood. There's a lot of people say they're afraid of needles and that they don't want to donate because they might think it's painful to donate. I think a good way to get over your fear of needles is to donate. Face your fear head on. So before you donate, on the day of your appointment, you definitely want to make sure you have a good meal beforehand and drink plenty of water. That helps you just feel better while you're donating. If you ever are prone to feeling lightheaded while you're donating, it might be because you aren't eating or drinking enough beforehand. You become a donor with LifeSource. You can sign up for Beal Rewards, and every appointment that you make and keep, and the different types that you donate. So most people donate whole blood, but you can also donate the specific components in whole blood. So there's red cells, platelets, and plasma. Each of those things equate to a different number of points in our Beal Rewards program. So you accumulate points, and then eventually you can cash those in for a gift card, a t-shirt, or you can donate them back to a couple different organizations.
My main job is, after the donors donate blood, they come back to a table that we have set up, and the setup, it's very close to where they had donated their blood. And my main job is to secure their safety, make sure that they're all right. The first thing I ask them when they come to the table is, how do you feel? I tell them they have to sit down, stay for 15 minutes. They have a form there. I put the time that they have to stay and make sure that they stay there, and let them know that if they're not feeling good, let me know. Or if somebody next to them who had donated blood is not feeling good, let me know. That happens. There's a little gynae that we have. We sit them in this chair, and if they're dizzy, we got ice packs. We put it in the back of their head, on their forehead. And if it gets where they actually faint, I yell ice. And when I yell ice, the phlebotomists who draw the blood from the donors, they come running and they help me get the person comfortable and make sure that they're well, and they usually stay on that little gynae until they're feeling better. At high school donations, some of the high school kids, when they come, they don't have breakfast or they don't drink a lot, and some of them unfortunately get a little woozy, and that's what my main job is, to make sure that they're okay.
O negative is the universal blood donor, so O negative, anyone can receive O negative blood. We have 17 donor centers throughout Chicagoland, in the city and in the suburbs. And we also have drives that happen every day at different schools and churches, colleges, Different businesses hold drives throughout the year.
LifeSource is partnered with Be the Match, which is a national bone marrow registry that focuses on bone marrow transplant and peripheral stem cell.
Bone marrow is actually a substance that's found in our longer bones, such as our femurs. Sometimes also it's found in smaller quantities, but in our posterior hip. It is the basis of our blood-forming cells, and the primary one that it produces is called the stem cell. For marrow transplants, there's today approximately 70 different diseases, including most of the blood cancers, such as leukemia and lymphoma, which most people have heard of. There's also non-cancerous diseases and genetically related diseases. Most of the diseases that are treated with a marrow transplant are because the bone marrow has become dysfunctional and is not properly working for the person who has that disease. So the process in joining the registry is at a in-person event, such as what is called a marrow registration drive. The person receives education about what they would be asked to do if they were to become a donor. If they are agreeable with becoming a donor, then they would complete a registration form and a cheek swab. The cheek swab basically takes cells from the inside mouth, and it provides a basic starting point for a sample that will go to the Marrow Donor Program database, and that gives a basic race and ancestry profile of that particular individual. What happens with it then is that when a patient needs a marrow transplant, then their DNA is entered and checked against everyone who's already in the registry. And then the actual donor process will begin at that point. What we have is that when someone comes in to join the registry, one of the first things they're going to do is to take a look at the health guidelines, which will go over a number of diseases that would keep them from being able to join the registry.
In marrow donation, one of the procedures is surgical, where the donor is anesthetized and feels no pain during the procedure. The doctor inserts a needle that removes some of the liquid marrow inside the donor's pelvic bone.
Right now is the day before the bone marrow procedure. I think, the biggest part is that I signed up to be a donor for the purpose of donating eventually. The moment that I got the email, I was kind of like, oh, this is pretty crazy. This is actually really happening. Someone actually needs my bone marrow. But I still was kind of hesitant. But when I actually, asked and talked with my fiance about it, she was the first thing that she said to me was, well, you're going to do it, right? It was kind of a no-brainer. And I think that kind of confidence on her side kind of gave me confidence to just be like, yeah, that's the right thing to do. There's very few times in someone's life where you have the opportunity to save someone else's life. And even though it might not be something that will actually work or even take the whole procedure, I think even having that, the hope or the ability to even give the chance of something greater than another day or another week or a month or a year to a person that you don't know at all is something that gives me the reason to actually do it. I don't think that I never thought going into this whole procedure or even going into the registry that I would have this opportunity to change someone's life in any way. I don't think in the 27, 28 years of my life so far, I've ever thought to myself that I really want to save someone's life, and these are the steps that I'm going to take to be able to do that. And so having this opportunity just kind of fall in my lap is pretty big, and something that I never thought would actually happen. And I think that that's what is important to just know, that you're going to be changing someone's life as well as the lives of those people that are around that person for the rest of their lives as well, by doing this small thing that probably won't inconvenience you that much.
I had two daughters, Kim and Kathy. My daughter Kim was 16 when we found out that she had cancer. This all happened, we had gone on a rafting trip down the Colorado River with a bunch of my friends, about 17 of us, my two daughters, my wife, and a bunch of our friends. We hiked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Kim was one of the first ones down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and we did that. We got home, she wasn't feeling good, we weren't sure what was causing her illness, and after a while we went to the doctor, and the doctor found out that after a blood test that she had leukemia, which was kind of devastating to us, and that she'd be on a 3-year protocol of heavy dose of medications. Kim went through that fairly well. She went into remission after not too long, but still kept up with the chemotherapy. Then she decided to go there's a cancer camp up in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin called One Step at a Time. So she went there and spent the first year there as a camper. After being a camper, they promoted her to a counselor. So she was a counselor for 2 years at the camp and did really well. She loved it there and loved working with younger kids. She came home after the camp, and unfortunately she relapsed. In other words, the leukemia came back, and she needed a bone marrow transplant. My older daughter, she's 17 months older, Kathy, donated her bone marrow, and it really didn't work out. She went downhill after that, and she got very, very sick. And she was being treated at the University of Chicago in Hyde Park. And while she was there's a Ronald McDonald House, both at Loyola, where she was first being treated, and then at University of Chicago. We spent a lot of time at the University of Chicago, my wife and I. It's a place where parents of the kids who are with some form of cancer stay. So we volunteered there for a number of years, and that was quite enjoyable. And then unfortunately, my daughter came down with an infection, and it was just too much for her, and she passed away December 15th, 1990. So I decided that maybe I could do a little bit more. And I saw the need for blood. Kim, when she was sick, she needed platelets all the time. She needed going for platelets all the time. It's a problem with the white blood cells. And so I started donating. One of my fellow used to come all the way down to the University of Chicago from the northwest side, Schaumburg, Illinois, all the way down and give platelets almost every time he could. And he started talking to me after a while, and I decided to join Life Source and help him out. I used to help him out at the church we both belonged to. They have blood drives there twice a year. I'd help Vince give blood, and I've been giving blood as much as I can. There's a big need for blood all the time, and I saw that personally through my daughter.